Kalimera, Kalispera, whatever time you are watching, this is MAPPA. It's our last review show because of the international break, but what a special guest we have. Tasso, welcome to the pod. I'm going to introduce our guest now because, you know, you got a lot to say on this anyway when it comes to the incidents. Anyway, it's a guy that is I'd say he's more of a Cypriot football fan than he was perhaps 6 or 7 months ago, but he gave us a bit of a shout in World Soccer Magazine. It's ALEC McQUARRIE. ALEC, welcome to the pod, mate. Great to have you on.
No, it's great to be on. No, I'm slowly getting to know the Cypriot football world, and the more I find out about it, the more crazy it seems to be. And even the games this weekend seem a bit mad. Is this normal? These kind of results, these kind of red cards for Cypriot football?
Well, the results are kind of normal, but if you looked at last week's results where we had a 4-3, a 5-5, a 3-3, that was a little bit strange. But the red cards, especially in the derby,
Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, there was a few more red cards than normal. I mean, you know, Vrionides next week is going to have Vrionides is the sporting lawyer that hands out all the punishments. But yeah, he's going to have a busy week next week when he has to sit down and look at all the stuff that's happened disciplinary wise.
Yeah. Well, the Cypriot FA, especially when it comes to Vrionides, is like Area 51. Yeah. So you don't know exactly what's going on in there. He just, we guess he just spins a wheel, and whatever it lands on, that's the punishment. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But thanks for jumping on, mate. Really appreciate it. And fingers crossed you enjoy this, so we won't send you to sleep. Right, boys and girls, let's go with our highlights. And the first game is Ethnigo 1, Othello 1. Early goal for Ethnigo, Mr. Ilia. Who else? He scored a hat-trick last week. He scored again. But Othello then went down to 10 men, and Dia was sent off. And that's where you thought it was curtains for them. But fortunately for them, they fought back, and they got a draw. Tasso, did you watch this game in its entirety, or did you watch?
What do you think?
I think negative, Captain.
Yeah, there you go. Captain. Yeah. But it was an interesting game to watch the highlights for anyway, because it looked like it looked like there was a lot of stuff going on as well. You know, you'd expect Achna and Othello, you wouldn't expect many fans to be in the stadium, but kind of like when you see the goals go in and it zooms in on the fans, you can see a couple of hundred people. So that's pretty good for that kind of game. But yeah, there you go. There's the red card. What do people think of that red card?
Yeah, deserved, I reckon. I mean, he goes in studs up there. I was surprised the referee didn't give it as a red straight away, but no, it's a good decision from VAR.
Yeah, to call him back. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it's there for, isn't it? I don't think he could complain about it either. You know, get off the pitch. He was stood around like, no, I didn't do anything. No, get off the pitch. It was a red card. But yeah, Ilia, he needed 27 seconds to carry on from last week when he scored the hat-trick. It's no wonder he's been picked for the national team based on his form. He's in a very rich vein of form at the moment. But saying that, between Taudulin, Othello's goal, and just his continuous missing, he should have had a hat-trick this game as well. The other thing to add as well, just to Othello's goal is a comedy of errors by Achnas's defense. Do you like what I did there?
Yes.
Yeah,
very clever. But you're a bit of a smarty pants anyway.
Yeah. So you know, hire me for your writing needs. But yeah, a red card count. So you had Ndiaye.
Yep.
Ndiaye got the red card, but as well the Achna, one of the Achna coaches was also sent off. So yeah, I'll find out what for next week.
Okay. Well, that's the red card count at 2 for the pod so far. some tally marks there, Alec. You run out of paper.
I was going to say, because I've seen some of the red cards, and that one, to be fair, was a red card. But I mean, I'll have my say on the rest of them later. But yeah, I think there were some questionable decisions in a couple of games this weekend.
Oh, yes. And we're going to get onto them in just a moment, because the next game is Anorthosi 2, Salamina 2. They blew it, Anorthosi. Chico Bantha gave them the lead before Guerrero continued his rich vein of form. Gacharis pulled one back, but Miguelito, in the 103rd minute, leveled it up. It's amazing. You got to love it. But there was a goal disallowed beforehand. Tasso, offside for you, mate? You happy with the lines?
Oh yeah, no, I'm very happy with the lines because you can see him. That's the main thing, isn't it? That's the main thing for me is when they've given offside decisions on VAR before and they show you the lines. Sometimes they put a green line down on a green background. There's some stupid decisions on the VAR side of things. But yeah, no, that was offside. That second goal. That second goal there for Guerrero, that's got to be, that's Melissa screwing up, isn't it?
Yeah. Terrible goalkeeping that.
Yeah, and yeah, Gacharis gets the first goal for Salamina to come back. This is a red card as well.
Absolutely.
There shouldn't be any complaints there. And here's the goal in the 103rd minute. Just a couple of things that wasn't noted in the highlights package because we were just looking at the goals is that my man Waris came on in the second half. So he came on, he hit the post, and then lost control of the ball to set that now Salamina goal up.
So that's why you're not wearing the t-shirt today.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, shall I put it on? Because he's hit the post. That's probably as close as I'm going to get for him scoring a goal.
But that would have been the right time to wear the Waris going on t-shirt.
Yeah, I know, but nah.
Your writing is impeccable, but your timing is turd.
No. I'm waiting for the goal. Goal. He's going to get the goal. So yeah. So we've got Correa getting the red card, and we saw that. But the Neo Salamina assistant coach, Hector Gonzalez, also got a red card. And that was in the 93rd minute.
So we're on 4 in total now, yeah?
Yeah.
4 from 2 games. Quite a ratio.
Yeah. So another thing as well is I counted how many times the frame of the goal was hit in these games. And in this game, it got hit 4 times. So yeah, there could have been another 4 goals in it.
This was one of the games of the weekend, I thought. Looking at the highlights, I didn't watch the full match, but like every time I saw a highlight, I was like, well, surely this is not going to be a real good chance. And then someone goes and hits the post. But I thought Anorthosis, just from the highlights at least, really threw it away. They were by far the better team, and how they let that slip, I don't know. But I think, even after the red card, they still had a few chances to bury the match. So yeah, no, kind of a terrible result for them, but a big smash and grab for Nea Salamis.
Yeah.
You know, this time last season, Anorthosis were in dire straits. I think the head coach was sacked by this time, wasn't he?
He had 5 games, didn't he?
He had 5 games. Yeah. Okay, apologies.
Milanic,
yeah. So they had the same model as most clubs in Cyprus, whereby you just bring in as many players as you possibly can and bloat the squad. And it just wasn't working. And this summer, they've had a massive clear out. They've brought in a shed load of players, but they seem to be working. And I've got to give credit to Gallejo, who came in as a relative unknown. And he seems to be working some wonders with this team. They don't have big names. Obviously, Guerrero is the big one at the club. But they don't have the Puncheons. They don't have various other players that you would expect to really push the club forward. It's almost as if they've done these under the radar signings with experience, because quite a few of these players played in La Liga or La Liga Dos. So or Segunda, as they call it. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. What do you make of them so far, Tasso?
Yeah, no, I've been really impressed with Anorthosis so far. I mean, like you said, the transfer window for them looked to be a little bit of a letdown because they hadn't signed any, a Warda or like a Puncheon or a name or something fancy. But they don't need something fancy. They've built a team, and you say like a lot of these players they brought in a lot of players, but a lot of these players know each other because they've played against each other, they've been around each other as well. I think 2 or 3 of them have played for Burgos previously at the same time. So yeah, there's a few players that know each other from past, so maybe that's helped with the gelling of the team a little bit.
Well, where do you see them finishing this season, both of you? Just out of interest.
I predicted them 6th, but looking at how they're performing right now, if they continue the way they are, I mean they haven't had the sternest of tests yet, but with the performances that they've got at the moment, I'd push them a bit further up, maybe like a 4th, something like that.
I just think they're a little bit unfortunate that the 6 teams that finished above them last season have improved. That's what I think. Anyway, you're frowning? You're frowning.
Yeah. I mean, Bafos I think, still need a solid footing in defence. They're still, I think, a bit shaky in defence.
But would you expect them to finish up above Anorthosis?
If they
Wow,
can,
you're not even answering that straight.
yeah. No,
Wow.
listen, if they can, because Gyro, right, he dropped off a little bit in the second phase of the championship, right? Because basically
Yeah.
the defenses of the teams around them in that top 6 kind of could deal with him a bit better than, say, some of the other teams. So if they're able to keep Gyro on form, then Bafos can have a really good season.
So you reckon that it just depends on Gyro?
Yeah.
Wow, that's bold.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, that's
bold prediction.
Well, look, I'll be honest with you. The only club that I can say has regressed out of the top 6 from last season is probably Apollon, right? But look who they got in now, Milojevic.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to that anyway.
Right. Okay. Ade, let's move on. I hope that answered your question, Alec.
It has.
Excellent. Right, next game. ALEC beat Doxa 2-0, even though I got them at home, even though they were away. Apologies. They went to that little stadium. I'm not going to say the name. So yeah, they beat them 2-0. Pere Pons and Farage giving them a victory back to winning ways, which it's kind of like a lifeline for Oltra, isn't it, Tasso? Because I think I was saying last week that if they fail to get a victory at Doxa, I think that would be it for him, given the dreaded votes of confidence he and Xavi Roca were given midweek.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So if AEK had lost this game, then it would have been curtains for both of them. It started off a bit dodgy for them as well. I mean, right at the beginning of the game, Piric makes a really, really good save for this rocket of a shot, and he diverts the ball onto the bar. There you go. There's another one. So one of the reasons why AEK have fallen off a cliff is because Piric, I don't know what happened to him after the West Ham game, or it was actually the Garmiotis game where he made one mistake in this non-entity of a game, and then that seemed to have collapsed his confidence for some reason. We're starting to see a bit more what we would expect from Piric, so maybe there's a change of fortunes for the team just based off of that. Other players kind of chiming in as well, like Pere Pons scores he scores a typical Perry Pons goal where he makes a dart and run into the box, meets the ball with any part of his body from across, and it goes in. So again, another player that was slightly quiet over the last 2 or 3 games has picked himself up. Franz Sol I think he's a very solid signing for him. He's going to score some goals. Didn't score against Doxa. He hit the bar. But yeah, Farage as well. His goal, Farage is going to be such an important player for him. Farage's goal, if you watched it.
What do you mean he's going to be? He is an important player for him.
Over the season, over the whole season. Sorry, I meant as a whole.
My goodness.
He is an important player. He's going to carry on being an important player. There you go. How about that? Yeah. Because the angle he takes the shot at for that goal he scored, the angle of it is it's like 80 degrees, 85 degrees. It's something crazy. Like his shot actually hits the side netting and never actually goes into the goal as such. It goes onto the goal, if you know what I mean. So yeah. It's very, very interesting times. I think they're gonna be one of those roller coaster teams. I think this season.
On Farage's goal, he should have passed. Really, I mean, how many times have you seen a player get in that position and he just blazes it wide, or it just goes out for a throw-in or something? But to pull that off, I mean, fair play. The AEK, is the manager under pressure because of what happened in Europe a couple of weeks ago?
Yes and no. Basically, when they went out of Europe against West Ham last season, following that, their run of form has been terrible. The only reason they finished third is because they had built up enough points over the season that even though there was a Apollon behind them, kind of on this massive run of form, the points gap was just too much for them to catch up. And basically their form continued into this season. So for instance, a team of Ajax caliber should be beating Ethnikos instead of drawing 5-5 with them, for instance. It's that kind of thing. To tell you the truth, I thought it was weird that he was still in a job after last season, because Xavi Roca has been very he puts heads on the block. He puts heads on the block as soon as there's a drop in form. He just right, off you go, next one in. He did the same with Iraola.
Iraola, that's at Bournemouth, yeah.
Yeah, he did the same with
Català,
who's now
Sofroni.
Yeah, with Avusti, who's at Omonia. He did the same with David Badia. Didn't have a bad set of games where he looked after the team, but they didn't think he was good enough.
He got them runners up.
Yeah, exactly. And Xavi Roca didn't think he was good enough. So, there must be something that clicks within the management team that makes it work. But yeah, it could be a big decision from Xavi Roca. If he keeps Ultra and they end up winning something, then all for them.
That's what I think. The boat was rocked after the Dnipro game before the first leg against West Ham, when they played Agrida at home, and Agrida were fighting for relegation and AEK were fighting for the title, and he made 6-7 changes, and they drew, and they needed a goal in the 85th minute to salvage a point at home, and that's when it kind of started, I think, anyway. And then obviously they got spanked against West Ham, and then didn't they lose to Apoel? I can't remember.
I can't remember, man. If we're talking about last season, it might as well be 14 years ago. It's
true. But then there was a Piric mistake against Garmio Disa,
where
you'd expect him to save that, and he just palmed it straight to Duris. And it kind of snowballed out of control. And then, okay, we had a laugh about it, and Manu Garcia kind of pulled us up and he said, guys, you know, when we said that they shouldn't have been celebrating after losing to West Ham because they were taking photographs in the dressing room, and he was saying, come on, you know, they might never ever get to play against a Premier League team, and we get it, but you've just been banged 6-0, man. You know, it's not the time to be celebrating. But I think this summer, and Tasso, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've taken the gamble with some of the signings that they've made. I believe, anyway, like Gadellari, who is a bit injury prone. Roberge, 36, 35,
Yeah.
36. Are we talking? They signed the winger, the Brazilian lad. What's his name? Clarice Samario.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. I still don't know what to make of this team. If they click, then they could be dangerous. But sorry to keep banging on about it, but they always score the same goals. Put the ball out wide, overload the box, and just smash it in there, and let's see who gets on the end of it, basically. So I don't know. Yeah.
I think we should wait and see. It's a strange one. I mean, we're talking about a team that came third last season. They performed well the season before as well. It's only 3 games in. Could be completely, you know, we could be talking a completely different game. You know, 3 games left. They have made. I mean, this game happened, and on the same day they announced 2 other signings as well. So you've got Mark Diemers, who's who Dutch player who was at Feyenoord.
Mark Diemers.
Diemers
was his brother's name, Shaka. I'm teasing you.
I see what you did there. Yeah, I'll move on from that. Just because we, you know, we're trying to keep we're trying to keep the time down.
Go on, let's go.
They also signed a player called Franco Tongia from Odense BK. This is on the same day as the match as well. Right winger. So I would suspect he's probably going to be understudy to Farage. I don't think he'll be a replacement. I don't think they're going to get rid of him now. I think it's a bit late now, unless somebody like Ali Tihad or somebody comes in for him. But yeah, earlier in the week as well, they signed. There's some good player names in Cyprus. They signed Alpha Diuncu. Alpha Diuncu, on loan from Granada. All these players that they've brought in as well, they're nomads a little bit. They haven't stayed in one place for too long. So Alpha Diuncu is 21 years old and he's already been in the Manchester City youth teams, RCD Mallorca, Barcelona B, and they signed him on loan from Granada. Franco Tongia is 21 years old and he was at Odense BK, but he was also at Juventus and Marseille beforehand. Yeah. Mark Diemers has been to like 8 or 9 different Dutch teams and Hannover 96 in Germany. So, you know, they're signing a lot of players that seem to not like to hang around too much as well, which is an interesting one.
Okay. Fair enough. Nice. There you go. So next game, blimey. Now this one, I don't think Ruslan was very happy about this one. In fact, I shared a few voice notes at full time and he was apoplectic. That's the word I want to use. Buffalo 3, IL 1. IL took the lead through Hendi, the missing man. He's arrived. Scored. Well, it wasn't a penalty. It was saved, and then he put the ball in the back of the net. Bokai scored a lovely equalizer. Then Tasso's best mate, Jairo, made it 2-1 before Mustafa Nam made it 3-1 in the 89th minute. Penalty for you guys, gents, by the way?
It's hard to tell. It goes by so quickly, and I'm sure they've done a VAR check on it, but I
never trust that. Never trust that.
He does well to keep his composure here, though, and bang it in after the penalty save, though.
Yeah, I think if you're going to give the penalty for an elbow, it's a red card as well, isn't it?
Oh, you think it's violent conduct?
Because
So
yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure. That kind of 50% decision here, 50% decision there makes sense really. Because if you're gonna give the penalty and it's for an elbow,
yeah.
it's violent conduct as a red card.
But
If it's
that's what
not, it's not a
this
penalty.
goal. Well, why did this go to VAR? I don't understand.
I think they were checking it for handball.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
because they couldn't see whether the Pafo player had handballed it before. Just on the elbow though, I think if it's not deliberate, it can still be a foul, but it doesn't have to be violent conduct. I think I'm not 100% sure on that. But I've definitely seen elbows in the past where it's just been like a free kick and it's been a yellow card. But given that it was in the box, there could be an argument to say it was a red.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch the West's red card from Ayers game against Doxa, you'll know the difference between that one and violent conduct because
Yeah.
you think it was Street Fighter, you thought it was
Yeah,
Guile from Street Fighter, Sonic Boom.
I think for the vest, that was such a weird decision on his end. But yeah, he gets his shirt pulled and he just goes. it's unbelievable from him. But yeah, Henty is proving that you can be rubbish at set pieces yet still somehow score from them. He did the same last week. He had a free kick. The free kick deflected off someone's head in the wall, and that wrong-footed the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper still got his hand onto the ball, but because of the spin, it still ended up in the back of the net. So here he's missed the penalty, but he still manages to get the goal because, like you said, he's got great composure. He was able to get the ball back and slot it in.
Very lucky with the deflection as well. I mean, for the keeper to palm it literally straight to him. I mean, a meter either side, and he never gets that ball.
Yeah. So but for a player who spent all of last season on loan at Apollon and barely had a look in, it's got to do wonders for his confidence, especially for a striker, because he never got the chance at Apollon. So it's good to see him. It's good to see him perform. It's for the Bokai goal. It's a great run, a great movement, great passing for the goal. But you kind of see the ALEC defender, I think it's Tsuka, he sort of gives up on trying to get hold of him to stop the run. He just drops his arms and stops running. But
he has been destroyed by ALEC fans already. And he's only played 3 games. But they have ripped him to shreds. Poor bloke, man. Honestly, they're ruthless out there. They don't care.
Yeah,
they don't
can
care.
be. But yeah, Bafos worth every penny for the win. I think IL in the end only had 3 shots. So compared to what Bafos had, yeah.
Pafos are an interesting team, well, especially from an outsider's perspective. Because I know that they and Aris have both had a large injection of foreign cash into their club, and yet it's Aris who've got the success before Pafos have, and it's Pafos who've been changing their managers like changing clothes. And I just wonder, like, even looking on transfer marks and seeing the most valuable players that have moved, about 5 of them are to Paphos this transfer window. I just wonder when is it going to come good? When are Paphos going to have a football team that can go into Europe and that can challenge for the title like year in year out?
It's a difficult one because they do the same with sporting directors as well. So they chop and change them, and I'll never forget when Cameron Toshak was head coach. Cameron Toshak, he was at Leeds United recently, if I'm not mistaken, with Bielsa, I think. And they beat Abuel 1-0 with 10 men. And he's sacked the next day. But from what I understand is because he was given a little memo to throw the game. And he obviously didn't get the memo. So they sacked him the next day. Wow. So again, it's very difficult. And then you're hearing rumors that Buffalo have given another club a couple million. I'm not going to say which club. I'm not going to say which club. Apparently, allegedly. There you go. So until they get their structure right, until they get their house in order, they're never going to be a success. Whereas with Ari, and again, this isn't me being, this arse licker for Ari, but the fact is they do everything on the quiet, from transfers to managerial changes, even though they've only made one change since they got promoted. Am I right? That's all?
Yeah. They got rid of Lugar and brought brought Spilevsky in, and just kept winning.
Yeah. So everything is hush. Everything, literally everything. You don't hear rumors coming out of Ari in terms of players being unhappy or transfers, or even if a transfer is made, you don't get the full details as to how much it costs. They're very private in everything that they do, and I think that's the best way to do it, especially in Cyprus, because everyone talks. Everyone talks. You can't keep a secret. I mean, there are things that Thasso and I know about our clubs that even the players don't know about, or they haven't found out yet, because a lot of the players are foreign and they don't understand Greek, or because we know certain people that tell us things. So, yeah, but with Buffer, again, they need to get their house in order. If they follow the Ari model instead of messing around on social media, getting a TV presenter to do all of their socials and make it all about them, then perhaps you can take them serious. But stop shaking your head. You know I'm right.
No, I know you're right. It's just that you had to throw the dig in.
It is what it is, my friend. It is what it is. She's a nice girl, but I just think, anyway, whatever. Sorry. I will not say any more.
Well, speaking of putting their house in order, and yes. I've spoken about Bafos needing to improve their defense for quite a while now. Phil Jones is still available. And the transfer window in a lot of these bigger European leagues is closed. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. All I'm saying, it's more likely now than it would have been, say, a week ago. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I just want more clearances off the floor with the head. That's all I'm saying.
As much as he's a meme as well, he's a quality player. I mean, he's played at the highest level for Man United for how many years? And to be honest, for him, as his career is winding down, like he's not going to find a home at a big club where he's going to be starting every single week in one of the top 5 leagues. I mean, listen, I would love a career in Cyprus.
Yeah, ALEC,
I don't think any Cypriot team would take me, but they'd certainly take Phil Jones.
Yeah, ALEC, just sign a 3-year deal. They might release you after 6 months and you get paid up.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, there you go.
So I know a good agent. Don't worry, I'll sort you out. So, right, let's move on to the final game of the highlights package. Apollon beat Garmiotis 1-0 thanks to a goal from Valbuena. Buffer. I see. That's I'm calling you Buffer from now on. Got Buffer on the mind. Thasso, are you surprised with the 1-0 victory? Are you surprised?
I mean, who would have thought it? They got the win. It's amazing. We had no information on this game previous to it happening at all.
And listen, it's not as if these two have got history.
No.
I'm shocked. For me, it was a surprise, especially given how well Garmiotis played against Omonia and how bad Apollon had been recently. And for Garmiotis to not score a goal, and for me, it was a shock. For me, it was a shock. Complete shock.
It was a complete shock. As I mean, what can you say? What can you say?
Well, I mean, it's not as if we were told a couple of days before the game that they would win. No one told us anything.
No. I mean, you didn't tell me anything.
No, no. I know nothing. No speak English.
The thing is, I mean, whatever, because I'm in the complete dark with whatever you two know up there. But
we don't know anything. That's what I'm saying.
We don't know nothing.
You made that very clear. But you still got to win the match. Someone's still got to put the ball in the back of the net. And Valbuena's free kick, to be fair to him, it wasn't the best free kick of the weekend. I will say that, but it was a very good free kick, and worthy of winning it. No matter how the result was meant to go or whatever.
Yeah,
That's all. Is he an Apollon player now on his social media?
He is. Following that goal, he has now changed his bio to be an Apollon player instead of an Olympiacos player. So that's good for him. And I need to also mention, though, I mean, we were joking around there for a little bit, but I need to mention Joey Suk. Got to pronounce his surname correctly, because if you don't, there's some issues. Joey Suk hit the bar with a header, and it was a pretty good bit of skill as well. He's a good player. He does not suk.
I knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew it. Oh my goodness! My goodness!
No, because he scored that wonderful goal last week as well.
Yes, he did. It was so good that Koulibaly didn't play the weekend. he sent him for some bitter souvlaki at the bottom of the road.
Oh Jesus, that was
in that way. Koulibaly went down there. Bring some Tarama as well. My goodness. But yeah, that's what Milojevic has got the Apollon job after Andoni was sacked, which again came as a surprise to us because Andoni really did a good job at the back end of the last season, galvanized that team. But look, say what you want about Milojevic, I think he's a very, very good coach. He's going to play boring football. Let's get it right. He's going to play boring football. But at this rate, do you think Apollon fans care if they're winning every game 1-0?
No, I don't think they care at all. As long as they win the games properly as well. As long as they win the games properly. The thing about Milojevic, at least from last season at Apoel, was that there were a few players that had a lot of injuries occur to them, whether or not that's because of the training regime Milojevic put in place, or they'd already had a big injury history, or whatever was going on. Something wasn't working there. Now, Apollon have signed a few players who also have an injury history. I just that Kremenchek, or whatever his name is. He was out for a long time with his injury. That's a major one that I can think of off the top of my head. So it's if he keeps the players fit and he gets a system in place to eke out those 1-0 wins like he did when he was Apoel manager, then Apollon are going to have a good season. I still think that they're missing the goal scorer, but I sound like a broken record saying that every week. I'll let somebody else talk about it.
Well, is Bittas such a big miss for that thing?
Yeah, but it's not just Bittas. They got rid of Jovanovic as well in goal, who's now a Partizan, and they he's played 6 games, and he's already like a mainstay of the team now. He's been saving penalties for them. He's been fantastic. Apollon, they've signed Ljungberg. I don't think he's got the same kind of presence that Jovanovic had. I mean, I keep going back to the game I was at last season, where Apollon scored the second goal, and chairs were raining down on his goal, and it was like nothing was happening. He just stood there waiting for the Apoel fans to finish venting their frustrations. I got out of there before he did.
Is that the famous 3-2 at the back end of last season?
Yep.
Was that where
with Warda doing his whole that whole business and the mask and all that rubbish? But yeah,
you were there, were you?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that must have been quite an atmosphere.
It was the stadium is fantastic. The way that I think they've done something with the acoustics there as well, because it's so loud.
Yeah,
it's so loud. It's only 10,000 and something seats.
It was meant to be 15,000, so I guess there's space for the 5,000 seats, kind of.
Yeah, they sorted the acoustics out with it, because it's the noise coming out of the stadium when it's full is something else.
The only problem with that stadium is how hard it is to get to it. I mean, there's no public transport that runs there. Obviously there's no trains.
Don't start him off.
I was walking around Limassol for a good 4 or 5 hours trying to just rent a bike. I just wanted to rent a bike, and so I could cycle up there to the stadium. And no one would rent me a bike. People would sell me a bike, but no one would rent me a bike. It was horrible. I had to get a lift. I had to meet an Aris Limassol fan who kindly gave me a lift to the stadium. But that's the biggest problem, isn't it? I feel for that stadium. The rest of it's fine. It's perfect. Like it's a state of the art. Like you say, the acoustics are amazing, and even when it's half full, it sounds like a cathedral. No, it's a great stadium. Just where it is the issue, I think.
Alec, you know how you've seen the old cartoons with Wile E. Coyote, and he's got a picture of Roadrunner on his wall, and he's throwing darts at it.
Yeah.
Well, Thasso's doing that to the blueprints of the roads around the stadium.
I can't do. They opened it in December, and they finished the roads in May.
Jesus.
I went, and it was still like around it. I went, and it was still a building site around it. Anyway, it's going to give me an aneurysm if I keep talking about it. So let's move on to something else.
Wake up in a cold sweat.
Yeah. So it's fine. It's fine. Right. Antosh has gone on loan to Garmiodissa. There we go. So more deals between those two teams. And then I just wanted to take a little bit of a diversion. So a match happened at lunchtime today in Slovenia, and the Apollon ladies won their first match in the Champions League qualifiers 9-0. 9 as in the number 0. So they dominated, and they could have been more as well. There was an absolute rocket of a shot in the 84th minute, bounced off the bar, and then the rebound header also ended up hitting the bar and then bouncing out. So there's two more. There's 2 more hitting the bar there. But yeah, they absolutely dominated. If Apollon season goes to crap, Apollon fans have got a team to support at least. Get behind the ladies, man. They've got an Indian international. They've got so many good players as well. And it's a very young team as well, and they seem to be doing the business. Get behind them.
Well, fair play. I know that in Greece as well, they're starting to really promote the women's football too. And I know at Aris Limassol, they invented a women's team as well. Is there something in Cyprus that I know all over Europe, the women's sport and women's football is getting promoted a lot? Is that something you see as well in Cyprus?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a league since the 90s, but it was amateur for a long time. I think they're trying now to make it professional. I don't think it's quite there. Apollon ladies, I think, are professional. Their captain, Christina, I can't remember her surname. I'm so sorry, but she's actually the representative for Cyprus in general at the FIF Pro Council. So yeah, she's doing
recently appointed as well.
Yeah, she's doing a lot of good stuff for women's football in Cyprus at the moment. She's also the national team captain. But as with a lot of injury, a lot of women players kind of across Europe, she ended up getting a ligament injury towards the end of last season, so she's still recovering from it, an ACL issue, and I've seen that be a problem a lot in women's football, and she's trying to raise a lot of awareness about that as well. So there's a whole. I think we need to get behind. Apollon fans have got another team to get behind anyway.
Well, Omoni have got a women's team, and they got to the cup final last season and lost to Apollon. Selina Boveleth German midfielder. She joined was it last summer or the summer before? So last summer actually, and she's doing well for herself. In fact, I think she's been looked at by a few clubs in the UK. So there is potential there. And to Omonia's credit, the women's team is kind of being run better than the men's. If you want to talk about the lack of drama and stupidness that goes on behind the scenes, they're steady, but it's improving. I don't think his lot have got a women's team. But then again, a lot of his lot's fans are pretty, you women go to the kitchen. I'm joking. Yeah. Don't come at me. I'm joking. Want any more death threats? Crying out loud.
Get him. Get him.
Get him. If they do, I'm coming after you first, my guy. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the two games that we have full highlights of. And the first one, Ari, they went to Salamina, I guess. Yeah. They went to Salamina and they beat Ayers 5-0. Babika gave them the lead. Stepinski made it 2. Spoljaric made it 3 before half time. Shumansky 4-0 and Montnor 5-0 for Addis. Gentlemen, it should have been more. You know, when we were talking about Omonia, should have scored 10 against Salamina. Well, this is exactly the same sort of thing. Could have been 12.
No, absolutely. I mean, this team have been playing football for a long, long time now, and they've just this is without Corcoran as well, who they've just signed. Or re-signed, I should say. But they've been playing football since like mid-July, like competitive football as well. When was the Super Cup against Ammonia? That was like 21st July, something like that.
Yeah.
They've played 10 competitive matches already this season. That's including all of the European qualifications and things. So I don't think it's surprising to see them, purring like a well-oiled machine. And yeah, the only thing about this match is they should have scored more. They've kept hold of, I think, almost all of their players who were firing last season, and they've added a couple more as well. They've added a left back, I think, Jurosovic. I think Iago was a bit suspect in one of the Champions League qualifiers against Rakov. And they've also added, have they added a striker as well, a Belarusian? Am I right in saying that?
Shumansky Shumansky is 18 years old. He was signed last season on the quiet, and he's just been brought into the team now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he scored this game as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I mean, this is a comedy of errors. This is ridiculous. This phase of play right here. But yeah, no, I mean, we've seen so many phases so far, and it should be like already 3-0, 4-0, and that's a great finish right there. He knows exactly where the bottom corner is. Yeah, I think Aris are looking very strong this season. I don't know what both of your predictions were for champions this year, but I think Aris are surely well up there for favourites.
No, I had them coming first again, and this was before they made the Corcoran signing. And it's just because the players they've signed to augment what they've already got there is amazing. The only thing that is going to hold them back, and again, it's central defenders. Talk about the Doxa game. Is Brorson was a little bit suspect. He didn't have the best game, but with the defenders that they've got at the moment, they're very good at getting the ball forward and attacking, and they play a high line. But the defending side of things, they're a bit suspect. A better quality team than Ayers. All respect to Ayers, but they're not. They're not going to be challenging Aris, but a better team would have capitalized on that Van Alves mistake. But yeah, forward line without Corcoran is already insane as well. Like they started the game with Stepinski, Babika, and Bengtsson, and they finished it with Montnor, Gomis, and Shumansky. Mayambela didn't even get on the pitch. So, that kind of tells you.
But he's played a lot of football, to be honest. I think he's been an ever-present this season.
Yeah. Because normally the forward line would have been Bambika, Mayambela, and Gomis. But they had the flexibility to not have to do that. As well, in this game, they played Spoljaric, which they haven't been involving too much. They've been recycling through the fullbacks as well. Great finish.
That's the young lad, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
Szymanski.
like you're always taught to put it across the goalkeeper, but to squeeze it into the near post there is fantastic.
But yeah, and you know, he scored a really good goal last week as well after he came off the bench. So yeah, they're getting him ready. I think with Kokorin coming in, you know, I mean, defense wise, all other teams might as well just pack their bags.
Do you know what, mate? I'm going to stick my neck out. I think this lad is going to be a big departure in a couple of seasons. You know, maybe going to going to, I don't know, Belgium or somewhere like that, because he's got these attributes, and he's not built like a brick shithouse, but you can tell that once he starts hitting the gym, he's going to fill out, and he's going to be dangerous. I mean, look at the finishing as well. I mean, says it all, really. The confidence he's got.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's a fantastic player, or it looks from the glimpses that we've seen of him so far. But yeah, I mean, look at that pass.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, you got rid of it. But yeah, well, at least we saw the pass.
Sorry, that's the one.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
But yeah,
but the last clip, I thought it went in. I thought it went through the goalkeeper, but it didn't. It went straight at him.
Yeah, a great pass, great vision for Gomes, and then Montnor is another one to keep an eye on as well. I really like the way he plays. He reminds me of Semedo, but he can finish as well. So
nah. Come on. Don't do this. Don't do this, because he's going to be better than Semedo.
Yeah,
he's going to be better than Semedo, man. He's a cracking player.
He is.
But so that right back, Sané,
he's going to be.
If you notice, yeah, he was getting forward a lot. But the thing is, defensively, I think it's the same with most of Ari's back line. Boyaki is brilliant, you know. But all right, I don't want to say too much about Bilal, because I love the player. I think he's fantastic, and I'm pretty certain that his replacement, Urošević, is going to be a good player for them. But I still think the mistakes that they're making defensively, all right, we didn't see any against Ajax, obviously, but some of the mistakes, especially in the game against Ajax, they were lucky to get away with it, and they were lucky to get away with some against Doxa. So that's what they need to shore up. But again, I think it just depends on the opponent, because if they're playing against your Monia, your Aboel, they're going to be more compact with the midfield. We're going to see Morgan Brown doing defensive work, all the other players as well. So I think their system depends clearly on the opponent. If it's a team that they know is cannon fodder, they're just going to go all out. But at home, or should I say against the bigger clubs, they're going to go more defensive. And I'm sure we're going to mention the Europa League group stage as well. That's all.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they have the Europa League confirmed. They've got. I thought I wrote down the teams. Have I not? I have wrote down the teams. It's good. Now I was like, I can't believe I didn't do the research on the teams, but I have. But the title in the notes for that bit is Morgan Brown dinks Aris into Europa League, because we've got to mention Morgan Brown and his little flick over the goalkeeper to finish the goal scoring against Slovan Bratislava.
I need to cut you off there, because that morning we released our pod from last week, and we were saying, you need to score a banger, mate. And he messaged us saying, it's coming. Moments later.
Exactly. A little ding. Just beautiful. But yes, so because of their performances in that game against Slovan Bratislava, they're now in the Europa League group stages. I think the draw could have been meaner to them, but they still have to play Real Betis, Rangers, and Sparta Prague. Personally, I think third place is very achievable. It depends which Sparta Prague decides to show up, because sometimes Sparta Prague are a very roller coaster in Europe. Sometimes they show up and they're fantastic, and sometimes they're absolute insert expletive here. I think second place would be very, very difficult and requires some luck. But either way, get that country coefficient up, lads. Come on.
Well, they're the only team in European competitions this season from Cyprus, right? And that's a change from last year, where you had, was it 3 in the Europa and Conference Leagues?
Yeah, Apollon, Omoni, and ALEC.
Yeah. The draw, it could have been better, to be honest. I mean, you could have had like I don't know, Sheriff Tiraspol in there, but at least they didn't get a draw like AEK Athens did with Marseille, Ajax, and Brighton. I mean, Jesus, that's a group of death if I've ever seen one. But I'm looking at like Rangers, Real Betis, and Sparta Prague. I mean, Rangers have got some nice days out, you've got to say, going down to Seville, going down to Prague, and coming over to Cyprus. I just wonder, I'm always wary about UK teams or kind of Northern Europe-based teams going to places like Cyprus and Greece, especially if they play them early. I don't know the fixtures just yet when the home leg is, but if they're coming in maybe September, October, then it could be pretty hot in Cyprus by that point. And UK teams do tend to struggle. I mean, look at any time in England, like the England national team is in a World Cup, Euros, where the weather's so hot. It does have an effect. That's the only way I can see them beating Rangers. Real Betis, that's a tough game, isn't it? But to be fair, I mean, they look very good against Slovan Bratislava. By far the best team over the 2 legs. And the second leg especially, I know it was at home, but to show kind of the ruthlessness and just to keep on going and keep on going. A lot of teams, especially in Aris's position where they've never made a European group stage before, could have just sat back when they got that 1 goal advantage, but they didn't. They kept on, exactly like we saw in the highlights just now, kept on going, kept on running at them, and eventually they won comfortably. So no, it's going to be a big journey for them, a big adventure, and I can't wait to see how they get on.
Yeah, I think the first game against Rangers is the 5th of October. And the second game is on the 30th of November at Ibrox. But I think it's going to be great for the club, clearly, because, Rangers come into town, loads of fans, loads of expats as well in Cyprus. And then you're going to get fans of other clubs wanting to go to see Glasgow Rangers. So from a financial perspective, it will be great for Ari. And I'm pretty sure a lot of fans will get behind them as well. Although I'll be interested to see if they're going to have a fan card for the away fans, because that will be an admin nightmare for Cyprus, for whoever Goa. It's going to be a nightmare for them. So yeah. Anyway, but good luck to them. I hope they do well, and hopefully we'll get to Ibrox. What do you reckon, Thasso? Do you want to get on the plane, go to Eurostar, and get the Eurostar?
Oh, I'll think about it.
We'll speak to them. Let's see if we can get tickets. Get ALEC as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll have a word.
I'll get in the press room. Don't worry, I'll get some complimentary tickets for us, all 3 of us, I'm sure.
I've got some work colleagues who their offices are in Edinburgh anyway, so I could see if I can bunk up or something.
Happy days. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of happy days, shall I do it?
Go on.
Come on, it's the derby.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sorry, man, I had to do it. They keep talking about. I keep saying it's thrillophobia. Omoni are scared of Abuel, but it wasn't thrillophobia. Well, it was for me after 5 minutes when Abuel had a penalty, and Ephraim, the guy that used to play for us, that decided to go to Abuel not for money or anything, took the penalty and he put it wide.
Huh? He's still bitter about that. Listen, so long ago. I still had hair when Ephraim signed for us.
Well, ask Spurs fans what they feel about Sol Campbell. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, it's a similar sort of thing as well, even though Ephraim probably had more success than Sol Campbell domestically. Anyway, but I'm not going to go into this. But he missed the penalty, and then we took the lead from a lovely, well-worked free kick. Training ground routine. Gaguli puts it in the back of the net for 1-0. Bashiru gets sent off, and then this is where it gets messy. But I'm just going to talk about the goals first, because we went 2-0 up thanks to a goal from... Who scored the second goal, Thasso? Do you want to tell us?
No,
I don't. He can't remember. It was Simic scored his first goal for the club. But Ephraim got his customary goal against us. So happy days for him. But everything just ended up turning to, pardon my language, turning to shit. And it's just because of this referee who decided to send off 4 players. And I don't want to dissect every single incident, but gents, is this a red card for you? The Bashiru red card?
No, that's never a red. He doesn't mean to do it at all. You can see, like, when a player's leg is already there to be stamped on, and you see someone like look at the leg, look at your foot, and then go in for it. He's just going for the ball there. You can see the Apoel player. He just makes a movement towards the ball with his leg at the last minute, just there. And he like accidentally treads on him. It's never a red card in a million years. But the problem is, once you have sent off a player and it is a bit dodgy, you do feel like evening things up a bit later on, which I think you'll see.
Yes. That's all?
Mamma mia, it's a spicy meatball. Yeah, no, the ref came out firing cards as if it's Valentine's Day and he fancies everyone, really. It was just like, here's a card for you, you get a card, you get a card, you get it, everybody get the card. But yeah, I'm
it's all about defending for that goal, by the way.
I've got like a whole speech prepared. I'm gonna try and not go off the lines.
I'm getting the cigar out, mate. Getting the cigar out. Come on.
So I'm going to start with the team selection, right? I don't know what Sapinto has against playing defenders, right? He played 2 right backs, a left back, Slenderman, and Dvali in defense. Like, I got no idea what the hell his plan was, right? His substitutions during the game were absolute balls to the wall crazy. Like, I got no idea where he was coming up with some of his decisions. It was nuts. Like, he basically handed the game to Omonia with his decisions.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
No, it's fine. By the way, let's just enjoy this free kick, because
what a free kick that is.
It's a fantastic free kick.
It's a consolation.
And I don't care, man. Ephraim is just set pieces is normally Ephraim's thing. And I don't know what happened with the penalty, but yeah, no, normally, fucking Dalcio, man, put your hands down. Put your hands down. Right. I don't think there's many arguments for the penalty to start. I'm going to start from the beginning. Don't think there's many arguments for the penalty. Militic brings down a frame, even if it's light. You shouldn't be sticking your arm out like that.
But it wasn't given for that.
The penalty.
It wasn't given for that. Yeah, it was given for the foul by Fabiano and Domane. The referee didn't give a penalty for the Militic one.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Fabiano's taken out Domane. That's what he's giving it for.
Okay. The cards coming out as but Chebak. I've got things to say about this.
Oh, for crying out loud. Just because he blocked you on Twitter, mate.
No. It's like he preemptively blocked me on Twitter because he knew he was going to have a shocker of a game.
Full disclosure, you've never actually tweeted him.
No. I've tweeted about him being rubbish, and I think that's why he's blocked me.
He searched his name.
Yeah, he searched his name. So this guy doesn't like me, right? Block him. But yeah, the free kick for Gaguli's goal, well worked. Great. It was great movement, great finish for him. But there's a screenshot that I've put in the notes that I want you to put up afterwards. But Tomane is yelling at someone to watch Gagulis and pointing to him, and Hefte Vital, or whatever his name is like just looking in the opposite direction, and then Gagulis goes on the run, and it just left him to it. Bashiru red card. I'm saying he's late to the tackle. Now the only reason he's got the red is because, again, it's not necessarily studs up, but he's showing studs and he's caught the player. I agree it's probably not a red, but that's the reason I think it's been given. Dalcio is at fault for Simic's goal. If Konstantinov was there, he was injured. If Konstantinov was there, he probably would have cut Simic off, or at least tried to run with him. Instead, Dalcio's got his arms up in the air being like, nobody told me Simic was coming. tell me where he's coming from. And then he's got his arms up. He still has his arms up when he's blocked when he's blocked the pass, and he gets the second yellow card and gets sent off. Absolute bell end there as well. He brings right. He's got Sacha on the bench, who's got experience in these games. He's been at the club for so long. He could bring him on, and instead he brings Doxa legend Fawaz Abdullahi instead, right? And all he does during the whole game, you see Abdullahi is just going. In all the highlights, it's just Chibak, absolute waster, right? You've spoken about him being like, he gets forward very well. At some points, he's the furthest player afield. He's almost into a centre forward position. Play him centre forward. Get him away from that defence. You can't defend for shit. Simic is a red card. I mean, we went past it a while ago.
It wasn't a red.
It was a red. It was a red. What's his arm doing? What's his arm doing on the back of Marquinhos' head?
Malaga, he's done this. Yeah,
he's done this and somehow wrapped his hand around the guy's head.
The guy went down holding the front of his face.
He made a meal of it, but still.
The question isn't is it a red or not. The question is whether it's a yellow or not. Because it was a second yellow, wasn't it? So
it was a second. No, it was it was
never.
I was confused because I thought initially when I was watching the highlights, I thought he'd given a foul the other way. I thought he'd given it to Ammonia. But then looking at the replay,
I thought when I first saw it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Well, I'm not sure any of them were reds, if I'm honest. I can't remember the Chibak one.
The Chibak one was 2 yellows.
Yeah,
and
2 yellows in the space of 3 minutes.
And Dalcio was 2 yellows as well.
Yeah, one of them was a handball. But the thing is, like the highlights don't show the first yellows; they only show the second yellows. So again,
Dalcio got booked first time because he was having a go at one of the Omonia players, and he's kind of barged into him off the ball, and the Omonia player's gone down, and the referee's gone, "Oh, yellow card." He killed the game. I'm sorry, but he killed the game.
He did. The referee was absolute. I think. And now the blood pressure's gone down. I could feel the vein here, but it's the referee. The only thing I can see happened was the referee probably looked up the rivalry beforehand and thought, okay, I need to be harsh quickly, and it went away from him. It just went away from him, but. The way that Sapinto set up this team, he set them up to lose from the start. Looking at the bench as well, kind of the finances, the financial issues that Apoel are having. When you look at the bench that Apoel had, a few of those players, you kind of look at them and go, "Who's that? Who's that?" There's. In theory, it's good news as well because you could use players like Garamanolis, Gavril, Sachas, Theodoro came on. But Gavril had such a good season last season. And instead, he brings on Fetfatsidis, who I'm still waiting for him. A lot of people got on me on Twitter about me saying, like, why we signed this has-been. He's not done anything for me yet to prove to me that he's a player worth starting at the club. He's not done anything, like, at all. But yeah, waste of a game, man. Waste of a game.
Yeah, no, you're right in that the referee wanted to kill the game. I think that's exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to, stamp his authority on it very early on. But exactly as you say, once you've given out one yellow card, then you've got to show consistency and give it out for every time you see a tackle like that. And so, you just lose control of the whole match in that way. The only respect I can pay him is that at least he made the numbers even, and that by the end it was a 9 versus 9. I thought the defending for both of Ammonia's goals was horrific. By the way, I don't know what the forgive me, I don't know the player's name, but when Simic comes steaming in from about 20 yards away, and you've got two Apoel defenders there who are both able to clear the ball before Simic does. None of them are aware that Simic is coming in at all. And then for the first goal, the free kick, I mean, you've got to say it's a fantastic finish. He's not even looking at the goal, but he knows exactly where the corner is. And I'm led to believe that this man is banging form as well, and that finish certainly showed it. So, I mean, given everything that happened in the game, I'm tempted to say that it was a deserved 2-1 to Ammonia.
No, it was a deserved win.
So yeah, that's my take on it anyway.
This is what Thussell was talking about.
Can you see? Finger point. There's Tomane saying, "Look at Gaguli," and the guy who's supposed to be marking him is looking in the complete opposite direction.
Well, there's two players on the right-hand side looking down. One's looking away. I don't know what they were looking at, to be honest. Even Gusulo was looking down. What did they see? A rat?
I don't know. There's something on the floor, obviously. But yeah, Hefte Vital there, he's there because he's got the pace as well to keep up with a player like Akulis, and he's just fallen asleep. Again, I keep going back to, Crespo's injured, and his replacement for Crespo is what's his name? Petrovic. I keep getting it wrong.
Yeah.
34-year-old defensive midfielder who looks like Slenderman. Like he's 6'7", 7'9", or whatever he is, and everything on him is long. Like he just looks long. Shut up! I didn't mean that. But yeah, it's just the I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Sapinto. I said it when they hired him. I don't think Sapinto was the right choice.
Well, how long has he got then? Because before we start recording, we were talking about him going back to Portugal during the international break, and there are other coaches that have stayed behind to work on their players. I mean, even Omonia, we've got a friendly tomorrow against MAPPA, so they're utilizing what they can in terms of boosting fitness for players. Wouldn't it have been better for him to stay behind and work on some of the youngsters perhaps that haven't been called up, or what's happened there? We could be just making something out of nothing, but it just seems a bit weird for me.
No, it is weird. It's weird. You're in the middle of the season, regardless of it's international break or not. The players that haven't been called up to international duty but are internationals would request permission from the coach to go to their home country, right? Right. Otherwise, you go to training as normal. So because Sapinto's not there, Nuno Moraes is going to be taking training. Is he going to be going to the players? Oh yeah, no problem. You can go back to Portugal, Brazil, Georgia. Well, no, Kvilitaja is on international duty, so it doesn't matter. But yeah.
Well, the goalkeeper Belic, was he from Slovenia?
Yeah, somewhere around there. So where you'd want these players to be in training to make sure that they're up to scratch when the international period is finished. I don't know. I don't know.
Gone by January, you reckon?
If he lasts until January, I'd be shocked.
Well, look, let's get it right, and this isn't me taking the piss, but European group stages was the primary aim for this season, as it was last season.
Yep.
And while Milojevic took you guys as far as?
Yeah, Milojevic wasn't in charge when the European. Yeah.
No, it was Sofroni, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he didn't get it, and look what happened to him.
Yep. And it wouldn't be the first time you guys have sacked a manager after a short stint. I remember, was it Thomas Doll was there for literally a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Karin Gabrielsen, Mick McCarthy.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys have learnt your lessons, but then again, it's the same with most Cypriot clubs. Look at Kadmi Odessa, but they've still got one guy, and it's 3 games in. They haven't sacked him, so he seems to be safe for now.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not going to be a good time for us, I don't think.
Alec, I need to ask you this question as someone that's completely non-biased when it comes to this situation. I find it amusing that his club is financially ruined. But then when you look at it objectively and you think, how has a club that was so successful in Europe, for a Cypriot club, they were very, very successful in Europe, and you're thinking about the amount of money that they had in the bank, they were reported, was it, how much did they say that you guys had in the bank at the time? 100 million? Something close to that? Something astronomical.
Like I mean, you know, with the quarterfinals of the Champions League, it makes you super rich. It's not just a little bit. It's, especially with the budget we were working to at the time as well. It's astronomical. The rise.
So you go from that to minus 40, 45
60,
is that? Minus 60.
With all the liabilities
now as well, because like a few months ago I read it was only 34 or something like that.
No, so that's the loans. So you got all the liabilities in that minus 60,
okay,
including all the other whatever else is included in liabilities. But yeah, it's at minus 60. It's not good.
Well, I think you've said the answer to the question in your question, Stel. It's Europe. That's the big thing, because once you get kind of fat on the money of Europe, especially if you're getting into the Champions League, where you're getting, it's not like chump change. It's like 30-40 million just for getting to the group stages. It's a ridiculous amount of money. But once you're kind of used to that, it's a bit like a heroin addict, I think. Is that once you're kind of on that, once you're addicted to that, you've already signed players for 3 years on 3-year contracts. What happens if you don't get into Europe next season? It's exactly the same thing what happens in the Championship, when teams have got the parachute payments from the Premier League and they say, oh, we'll be back in, next season we'll be back. So we don't need to worry. We can spend the money now. We'll spend the money now, gamble on all these players. And when it doesn't come off, these clubs are ruined. I mean, you look at what happened to Sunderland a few years ago. It's exactly the same thing. If you're expecting an income every single season and then suddenly it's just not there anymore, that's obviously going to lead to debts and loans, because you're continuing to kind of chase that high. So you take out more loans to try and like cover the shortfall. And then when results don't pick up and when you don't get into Europe, the problem with leagues, well, the biggest issue for clubs in leagues like the Cypriot division, like the Greek Super League, like any of the outside the top 15, is that you're never guaranteed. There's no one club that is ever guaranteed this European money in the Champions League, or even just Europa League football or Europa Conference League. So it means that your whole season hinges on the first 2-3 weeks, when players have just come back from summer holidays. And if you don't get that right, if you haven't got the players in on time, like to go and train and get your transfers in, get a manager sorted out if you haven't got one already, then you're just pissing away the whole season. And your whole raison d'etre is to make money, right? And to give your fans some European football. And if you don't get that, then I mean the rest of the season is kind of trying to count your losses, I think.
Okay, with that, Alec, I'm going to let you know as well that fucking Mushroom Man, as we like to call him, Manny Daras, wants to build a new stadium.
You've got one, haven't you?
No, but the stadium is owned by the Cypriot Athletics Association, and they rent it from them. Now they want to build a new stadium for themselves
at a discounted rate, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the board members are Abuel fans, allegedly.
But where is he finding this money from? Where's he going to find this money to build this stadium? Now, Stella's sent me some inside information, which I don't think even with the inside handshakes and everything else that Manny Dada normally gets up to, I don't think he's going to be able to do that because he's got no money. Like, what's he going to put down as a deposit? What's he going to put down as a deposit? There's nothing there. He can't get a loan big enough to build a stadium the size he wants to build.
Are there any worries about FFP in that case?
Well,
can of worms.
For your information, you know how Manchester United got fined a load of money towards the end of last season because of FFP? Apoel did as well. Commensurate to how much each club earns. So they didn't get hit with the same fine, but they got hit with the same percentage fine. Yeah. On top of that, Apoel didn't pay their players allegedly. Don't come after me. But didn't pay their players for part of last season as well. There's also transfers and agents fees that they haven't paid, which they've actually been brought up on by UEFA as well as part of the FFP. So they've been fined twice now. So if they get a third infraction, then regardless of whatever position they come in next season, they probably won't get Europe.
That's the thing. That's the one corporation that you don't want to be pissing off is the corporation that can give you the money, that can help you out of the situation.
Exactly. And for some reason, the people in charge of Apoel think that they can get away, or they can keep getting away with what they're getting away with at the moment.
Well, they can in Cyprus, and this is the thing. This isn't me trying to be funny or anything. It's normal for Cyprus, if that makes sense. And they've got this mentality where it's, well, we're so small that no one will notice anything. But believe me, there are a lot of eyes, and it's solely because there are many, many agents that have clients that are players in Cyprus who have bigger clients elsewhere. I'm not going to mention any names, but there are some agents, one in particular has got clients at Serie A clubs. And if his clients in Cyprus, whether it be at Apoel or Omonia, and they're not getting paid on time, he's going to make a bit of noise. But this little bit of noise that he's making is little in Italy, but for Cyprus, it's huge. So they're playing a very dangerous game. In fact, I think we're playing a dangerous game just talking about it, in all fairness, because from what we've heard, there have been other podcasts that have been threatened, allegedly.
But we don't know. We're just making...
Yeah, exactly. We're just saying... just saying allegedly, because these are the things that we heard. Because as we were saying, Cyprus Paramithia, it's all stories, you know. So stories from the coffee shop, you know. But at the same time, you're thinking, well, it's Cyprus, so there's no smoke without fire. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. But what can you do? This is Cyprus. This is MAPPA.
There you go. There you go. And with that, I think we should conclude that and move on to other stuff.
Yes. Shall we talk about our favourite pantomime villain?
We can do.
Before we start talking about him, I've got a little intro video. Can I play it?
Of course.
Let's go.
This is a surprise for me.
And that's the intro to WARDAVISION.
Oh man!
That works as a good theme tune, I think. I quite like it.
Yeah.
It's a very, 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 very old song. And he got into the studio and he sang it. He actually sang it word for word. I was impressed. He's in Greece
Yeah, I kept thinking that has to be like AI. Somebody's done AI on that.
No, he produced it. He actually produced it. You see him in the studio playing with the buttons. He's the next Timberland.
Can you listen to that on Spotify? Is that available?
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, I'll send you the link. Don't worry.
Oh, I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I really hope we don't have to play that again.
I'm
Because
doing it every time we
I'm,
talk about him. Be
I'm,
careful.
I'm tired. I'm just tired of talking about him. I'm hoping somebody signs him so we can just get rid of him. I mean, you know, it gets rid of half our content, but just right.
Respect me. Respect me.
Ah, God.
Habibi,
Habibi.
respect me.
So I have to. I put out an article this week discussing WARDA, just the phenom that is Amr WARDA in general. And I had to rush the article out because some other stuff came out. Anyway, I'll go through my notes. So last week, a source, we won't say who it was, provided us with some information regarding Amr WARDA's jet setting requirements and provided us with what could be the reason that his contract with Raja Casablanca was cancelled. Not only had he gone missing for 2 days after a video of him came out canoodling with a mystery woman in a club, but in addition to that, he couldn't get a private jet booked for his dog from Larnaca to Morocco because the flights were too expensive. I didn't put this in the article, but apparently he couldn't afford 32,000. He could only afford 26. That was the big issue. Now, we sat on this information for a week while we waited for the dust to settle down and a transfer to be confirmed for WARDA. But instead, yesterday, as we're recording this, news broke after an interview from the Esteghlal president came out where he revealed that WARDA contacted the president out of the blue. Like he didn't, the president from the Iranian club didn't know the number and was like, hello, and WARDA basically talked himself into signing for Esteghlal at the same time that he signed the pre-agreement with Doxa to get a private jet for his dog to Tehran. So I'll go to Tehran if you book the private jet for my dog to Tehran as well. The Esteghlal president negotiated a reduction in WARDA's salary to pay for the private jet for the dog. But the Esteghlal president didn't know that WARDA had already had some kind of pre-agreement with Garavida at Doxa. So Esteghlal not only had to pay for the private jet to go to Tehran for the dog, but they also had to pay off Doxa for all the expenses that they put in place for the private jets to get WARDA back to Cyprus. So WARDA gets to Cyprus, then gets deported to Egypt. So Esteghlal have paid Doxa 150,000 euros for nothing. Like zero, nothing, because the player can't leave Egypt now. Now, on top of that, I think the president of Esteghlal is going to get into trouble because this is based off of hearsay on our Discord chat. But somebody on the Discord chat informed that Esteghlal are not able to take part in the Asian Champions League because of their debts. Something to do with their FFP for the Asian Champions League. I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, on top of that, the Zamalek link for Amr WARDA from last week seems to have been put in the bin. They're not interested in him anymore. Whereas now it's come out that the club he started with in Alexandria is willing to take him on instead. To be continued.
DB die.
DB die.
Oh
Habibi!
my goodness.
What I'm wondering in all of this is, where is the dog? Where, like, is the dog still in Cyprus?
I really hope the dog is in Egypt. If not,
he's still on the plane. He's still on the plane.
He's on the plane to Tehran.
He's like, I'm getting better service here than I'm at home. Fuck this, I'm staying here.
Well, that's what I don't understand is booking a private jet for your dog. Does that mean you take the dog yourself, or do you get someone else
No.
take the dog?
So originally, when he wanted to book the private jet, he was already in Casablanca. So he wanted to book the private jet from Larnaca to Casablanca just for the dog. Now, the dog was going to go with somebody who also wanted to go to Casablanca.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just going to be a dog.
The dog and the pilot.
A dog, yeah. Refreshments, sir? You know, I don't think... sorry, ma'am, because I think it's a female dog.
Oh.
Refreshments, madam? Anyway, the issue that came from trying to get the dog to Casablanca, it took 2 weeks to sort out from the information that we received, and it didn't get sorted out in the end because the value that WARDA wanted to pay would have meant a smaller plane, and a smaller plane would have needed to refuel twice from Cyprus to get to Casablanca. So they would have had to fly to Italy, then France, and then Morocco.
That is some trip for the dog, man.
Man, he's seen the sights. The dog has seen the sights.
Lassie is like, what am I going wrong?
I mean, take a boat at this point. Like, all of this messing about with private jets, surely you can, like, charter a yacht for less than that and get a dog on board there somehow.
But either way, he was trying to barter as well. The price, he was given a price, and then he was told, no, I can't do that price. I can do a 20%. Yeah, I can do 20% less. And then I can do 20% less now, and then give you the rest after.
Cash.
Yeah, cash. Cash, Habibi. But yeah, it doesn't end. It does not end.
I'm just interested to know, like, in Casablanca, did he have an account, a bank account, or did he just have $6,000?
I don't know.
Random, just $6,000. Just lying about.
Yeah, he just has in his wallet. He just has $6,000 on him all the time, just in case.
Look, the guy is a liability. He's an utter liability. And, you know, the warning signs have always been there. Your article is brilliant, Thasso, and there's loads more that could have gone in there that we obviously cannot divulge.
I could only use stuff that
that has evidence, concrete evidence.
Yeah.
But there are things that we've been told by former teammates, players that he's played against about his antics. Again, I don't want to repeat it. But honestly, this situation with the dog is comedy, but the other stuff is this is, you know, there's a player that's left Man United, and he's been accused of doing certain things. Now, WARDA hasn't done anything to that extent. Don't get me wrong, but the premise is like, come on, bro, there's something wrong. But again, we don't want to say too much.
It's such a shame as well, because you can see that he's such a good player. He's such a good player. He's such a shithouse as well when he's playing, but he's such a good player. Doesn't like Abuel for love or money. Does not like Abuel.
Where did that hatred even come from? Because I can't remember.
I got no idea where it came from. I keep going back to Gvilidaya celebrated scoring a goal against Anorthosis, and he did his eagle celebration, you know, when he flaps the wings. And then WARDA just picked that up and started going in front of the Abuel fans. So they chucked some water bottles at him, and that went on.
And the thing is, the guy, he's done some very, very bizarre things. I remember the semi-final against Omonia when we knocked them out. He was doing a lap of honor, but it wasn't at Anorthosis ground. It was at the Gazibi in front of all the Omonia fans. And he's like, I love Omonia, Habibi. taking photographs with fans. Weird. Yeah, it's absolutely weird. Can you imagine? I don't know. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Just give you an example. I don't know. Anthony at Man United walking around the Etihad, just applauding the fans, and then taking photographs with, club officials at Man City. It's bizarre. It's absolutely weird. Who was doing this? It's crazy. And I was saying, do not go near this guy because he's a danger. He's a weapon.
He is a weapon.
But he's great entertainment, and he keeps us going for a bit longer than usual. Yeah. That's right. Is there anything else we need to touch on? Because I think there's the internationals. Shall we discuss
let's go to the internationals.
Okay. All right.
Gets Bayer. Yeah, he's made some choices.
He's starting to win us over with his forward selections, I guess.
Yeah.
Whether or not he plays more than one.
Yeah. I mean, if he has the balls that I think he has, then he should be playing a front three with Sotirio, Bittas, and Gagoulis, and just whack that Scotland defence against those three. Yeah, because Sotirio is performing well in Japan at the moment as well.
Okay.
So if you play, if he stays fit, every time he gets called up, he seems to get an injury. But if he stays fit throughout this international break, then I think he needs to play front three of Bittas, Gagoulis, and Sotirio.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, how many unorthodox players has he called up this time?
In theory, only 3.
Right.
So it's Antonio, Ioannou, and Gorea. But he's also called 2 other players that were at Anorthosis last season. So that's Antoniadis.
I don't count.
That's Antoniadis, who's like 47 now or whatever, and Christofi, who's 69. It's I don't understand why that those 2 places could have been brought, could have been picked by somebody else. Ioannou pulled out in the Amin Digi bit in the defenders, and he's replaced him with Bileas. So Bileas is only like a second thought as well, which is absolutely insane. And we all know, right? We're saying front 3, try and attack. He's going to line up with 5 at the back and 2 defensive central midfielders again, isn't he? That's what he's going to do.
The question is, who will be the centre backs from the central midfielders?
Well, yeah.
Gogic.
If I see Gogic playing in central defence again, I'd say I'm gonna take my shirt off and kick some fucking hoardings.
Mate, it's gonna be Garo, Robert, and Gogic as the 3 centre backs.
I do not play Gogic in centre back. He's a defensive midfielder.
He's gonna do it. I'm telling you. He's gonna do it.
His life is not fit. Is he in there?
He is in there.
He's there.
But he's. I don't know. I don't think he likes him. In fact, last game, Leify's played. He still played Gogic in central defence and played Leify's in defensive midfield.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the face I was looking for.
What? Was it Georgia or was it Malta?
It was Georgia.
Georgia. Right. Yeah, but look, he's got Hambos Kyriago from Apollon, Kusulo. I don't blame him for putting him there. Gastanos is always going to be selected because he plays in Italy. Hambos of Omonia, who is probably the best out of that, I believe anyway. I don't know about you, Thasso, but I think Hambos is better out, the best one out of all of them, the central midfielders. Anyway, it's my opinion.
Which Hambo are you talking about?
Omonia is Hambo. Come on.
Nah, man.
What?
Wrong Hambo.
Nah, don't be silly. I'm not having this. I'm not having this.
No.
I'm not having this.
Apollon's Hambo is better.
No.
Objectively, I'm being objective.
No.
Demonia's Hambo started against Apoel.
Yep. No, he came off the bench. He came off the bench when Bashiru got sent off.
Did Apollon's Hambo start as well?
Yeah, he's captain of Apollon.
Well,
Yeah, but what happened last season? He only came in when Andone. No, it was the guy before.
No, he
The guy
came in
before.
when Andoni came. He came back into the team when Andoni was. Yeah, and
Right.
Apollon's form went.
I wasn't just because of him. All right, he scored a couple of worldies, but come on,
Hambo is a very good player, man. You can't.
My Humboy is gonna be
Your
playing in the
Hambo
top
doesn't
league.
even start for your team
Because he's played so many games for us recently. We're talking about it. Malaga, how many games has he played already this season? How many games did he play last season? Come on, let's not do this.
Okay, let's not do this. Let's not do
this.
This is what gets Bayer wants. He wants us to argue between ourselves.
Okay, if that's the case, then
his shit formation that he's going to.
If that's the case, right? Let's throw another one in here because Alec is going to be interested with this one. If he goes 5 at the back, which we're guessing he's going to do, and he's going to go 2 holding midfielders.
Yeah,
right?
like he always does.
Who's going to play up top? Because you mentioned the 3, and you said that if you play, but what about John Is? You can't not pick John Is.
He's only got but like you're saying, you've only got that one space in that attacking spot, haven't you? So for me, it would be Bittas
with.
Oh, we're putting 2 up front, are we?
Well, you tell me. You tell me what he's going to do. I don't bloody have a clue what he's doing.
I know what he's going to do. He's going to play 5 at the back, 2 holding midfielders. The wing, the fullbacks, they're going to be fullbacks. They're not going to be wing backs because he's going to play Andoniadi on the right hand side, and he can't run for shit. And he's going to try and do everything not to play Bileas on the left.
Why does he not like Peleas? What's all that about?
I have no idea. He
didn't like him at Anorthosi. He didn't like him.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. So Bileas moved from Anorthosi, and then he ends up being this brilliant player. For me, that looks like gets by as the problem.
Yeah.
But he has a formation. He has his favorite play. It's a bit like Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, he's got his favourites, loyalty, all of that.
Yeah.
Stuff, right?
Except the thing with Southgate at least is they're a normal age for a footballer. Dimitris Christofi is like 37.
Yeah, he's turning 35 this month.
Antoniadis is 34, I think.
33, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just I think I don't know.
Surely Bittas and Gakuli up front. No.
Well, that would be my decision because Gagulis is on fire at the moment, and Bittas is okay. Didn't have the best game last game, but he's got 4 in 6 in Sweden.
Yeah.
Right now, so he's having a good time of it himself as well. Yeah. Robert seems to score goals whenever he's playing for Gibro. So, well, at least we know for definite Mal is in goal.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't not play him, especially with what he's doing at Servette at the moment. He's getting like man of the matches all the time. He's having a fantastic season so far, so he has to start.
Has he been a recent addition then has he switched nationalities?
Yeah. So he qualified last season, towards the end of last season, because he'd been in the country for 5 years.
Oh, is that what it takes?
Yes.
Ooh, I might book a flight to Larnaca.
Stay for 5 years, and there you go. But you're gonna have to make friends with Getsbaye if you're still managing the team, though. That's
well, hopefully Morgan Brown will get his citizenship as well. Because
I'm like waiting for that announcement.
How long's he been at Aris for?
5 years.
Is he?
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, he was there before any of this investment came
Revolution.
in. Yeah, he's been there since the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going back to the international matches, what do you expect? I know it's a stupid question, but
yeah. I kind of at the beginning I thought, especially since we drew Spain, and we've got Agogits, and we've got Spogliarits, and we've also got Okas in the Fulham Academy. I thought, bring these players in. It'll be it'll be just interesting to see if they do as well as their dads did last time we played Spain in the group stage. We beat them 3-2. And Luis Enrique was on the pitch.
really,
So I was like, Luis Enrique, if he stays manager and these guys come through, basically
he's gonna have flashbacks.
The psychology.
Exactly. It's going to be like PTSD. It's just going to freeze, and then it's going to be a 4-0 win to Cyprus. But I don't know. I was expecting a lot more from Getsbayer, and it just. And like he keeps saying, we need to have fans in the stadium. Yeah, but you're not doing anything to enthuse these fans. You're not doing,
Nah. Well, we saw a decent.
football.
We saw a decent first half against Scotland. Saw a decent first half, but then afterwards it was just. And what I'm worried about is that something similar is going to happen against Scotland at the weekend, where they play well for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and then Scotland score 1, then it's 2, then it's 3, then it's 4. Then they're going to go to Spain and get absolutely mullered.
Spanked. Yeah.
Mullered. But what can you do? And there's going to be another inquiry, and there's going to be more questions about grassroots. And why aren't you looking at British-based players? But, again, same nonsense. Same nonsense. We've got players scoring goals in League One, but we don't want to touch them because.
But even right, the under-21s. I looked at the under-21s. Right? Where's Gosti?
Atletico Madrid. I don't know.
Yeah, but where is he? He's not. He's not been called up. Where's
He's injured?
I don't know. I tell you the truth, I don't care. Just get him in the team anyway. He is better with one leg than most of the players in the under-21s with 2. But
he's injured, mate. No.
It's scary times. There's so much potential in this team, and it's being wasted.
Well, it is.
Like when Scotland come to Cyprus, like I said with Rangers, they might think it's a holiday and then not turn up on the day.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping John McGinn just sits at the beach with a giant bowl of chips and just and forgets there's a game on and doesn't show up.
Well, it will be quite hot out there, to be honest.
Also, it'll keep him fresh for Villa as well. So
true, very true.
McTominay hasn't played much for United, so he's going to be ready to go, isn't he?
Well, get him a plate of chips as well.
Incidentally, the Cypriot FA have announced that they're giving away free tickets to the Scotland game for Cypriot fans that are non-smokers, because it's a new incentive that the FA and some health organisations have decided that we're trying to go smoke-free in the stadiums, and if you're a non-smoker, then you get free tickets.
Whoa! How do you even prove that? Like non-smokers, we don't have cards to ID cards that say on it non-smoker. Like that's not how is anyone going to prove that?
Smell your finger? I don't know.
Health certificate?
Bizarre. If they got people to give off the kind of health information, their documents from years ago. That's such a bizarre announcement. Where did you hear that? That's crazy.
I don't know. It was this afternoon, was it, or was it before?
Yeah, yesterday. No, today. It was today. Yeah, it's today.
It's well intentioned, but at the heart of it, it's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Plus, you want to be making money anyway. Like, why aren't you? There are other ways of getting fans into the stadium.
I'm telling you now, there's going to be more Scotland fans in the stadium than Cyprus fans.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
And the thing is,
100%.
the allocation probably for Scotland is it'll only be what, 1,000. They'll just have the one partida at the ALEC Arena. Now, there are ways Scotland fans can get tickets that aren't for Scotland. However, we will not be divulging it here. Seriously.
Yes. But there is one more other thing, because I know we've done almost 2 hours. There is one more other thing. The Cypriot FA have also agreed a deal with Alpha Mega, the supermarkets. So they now have a nice sponsorship deal with them. So I'm half expecting more AEL, Apollon and Aris players, Cypriot ones, to be called up further down the line. I'm expecting it. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm kind of expecting it.
I mean, how many? Aris have got Brown. Oh.
Well,
okay.
yeah, but Aris have got Morgan Brown, yeah. But if you talk about AEL, for example.
Yeah, AEL have got, well, I mean, to be fair, AEL have got a lot of youth players breaking through to the first team at the moment. There could be some really good players in there. We don't know.
Well, Baba Foddy might get a game.
McQUARRIE. Can you imagine McQUARRIE?
Flipping, if Sodrio gets into the team, Ruslev is going to lose his shit. He's going to absolutely lose it. I've got voice notes, man, from the weekend. You weren't happy with him either, but again, I'm not going to...
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Well, that's been another episode of This Is MAPPA. Alec, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's quite late, but thank you for...
No, thanks for having me. No, if you ever need a guest again, just let me know.
For sure. And just for the benefit of our listeners, where can they find you across social media?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that question. I don't even have my handle ready. Twitter mainly. Oh, well, only on Twitter. Don't add me on Instagram or Facebook.
Don't add me.
A_McQUARRIE, MCQUARRIE. And that's it. Yeah, mainly talking about Greek football, bit of Cypriot football here and there when I find the chance, and a bit of Liverpool as well thrown in for good measure. But yeah.
Was it you do the Anfield rap? Is that right?
I was there doing a bit of experience. I did a couple of articles for them. I sat in on a few podcasts. And I did a couple podcasts as well. Yeah, good lads up at the Anfield Rap. I've been listening to them for a good decade now. But yeah, no, that was good fun.
Excellent. That's all.
Twitter's, X, Instagram, all that business. It's always the same, at Flares Gaffes, Gaffes Flares, whatever you want to put there. Just make sure it's Flares and Gaffes that are in there. Yeah, we've got the This Is MAPPA Discord, we've got the This Is MAPPA Facebook group, we've got the This Is MAPPA Twitter, Instagram, all that business. We got all of them. And just be nice to each other, man. Just be nice.
Yeah, and don't blow up any more referees' cars. That's another thing that we didn't discuss.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe that we'll just say that for next week, because we might find more information about that. But yeah, there you go.
Be nice to one another, even if you're an Omonia fan. You know, let's be nice to Omonia fans as well. They're human.
Oh mate, you are treading a fine line. Anyway. That's it for another edition. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Congratulations to our friend Giovanni Constantino for getting the Ayannabai head coach role. Blimey, the lower leagues haven't started yet, and it's going to be a tasty second division with Punchen at Bayer. You've got Olympiacos with their new signings, MAPPA with their new agreement with Omonia. That is going to be one hell of a league, and that's not even mentioning Paralimni with their new Italian head coach, and Agrida, who are strong again. So, yeah, I think we'll have to do more features on second division football. So, until next time, boys and girls, adios.